皆様お待たせいたしました。本日はお忙しい中お越しいただきまして。
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming to our conference today. Sponsored by the Japan Renewable Energy Foundation, the International Conference, Revision 2013, Creating a New Renewable Energy Future, will begin. My name is Miyako, and I will be your MC for the day. First, I'd like to call upon Thomas Kaberge, the Executive Board Chair of Japan Renewable Energy Foundation, for some opening words.
Thank you very much, and very welcome to all of you. Japan can and will develop a sustainable, renewable energy supply, reducing the need for imported fossil fuels or uranium, and providing economically efficient energy to the Japanese industry and the Japanese households. The Japan Renewable Energy Foundation is formed to make this transition as fast and as efficient as possible. And we realize that success cannot come from increasing subsidies, but only from reducing the costs of renewable energy supply, thereby making large-scale, fast development of renewables economically easy and possible. During today's conference, we will hear about some of the costs of renewable energy in Japan that are unnecessary and could be removed, making renewable energy as cost-efficient and competitive in Japan as it is in the world's best-performing countries. It includes reforms in the electricity market regulation. It includes other regulations in Japan, but it also, in particular, involves making the renewable energy industry more efficient by internal competition. These are issues that are not always popular amongst energy companies or even renewable energy companies, but it's the kind of challenges that the Renewable Energy Foundation finds fundamental if the Japanese transformation is to be successful. We have a lot of very qualified Japanese and international experts who will speak today and convey their experiences and ideas for this development. But first, joining us from cyberspace, Masayoshi Son, the founder and donor to the initiation of the foundation, will join us from cyberspace. Son-san.
My name is Son. I am very thankful for the many experts from around the globe who have gathered here at this symposium where the future of renewables will be considered. Thank you so much. Because of a prior business engagement, I am unable to join you at this international conference. However, let me say that I am in complete agreement with your thinking, with your philosophy, that the Japanese energy situation must be transformed. 2 years have already elapsed since the nuclear fiasco at Fukushima, and the cause of that was the great earthquake and the tsunami that caused the disasters. And despite the fact that 2 years have already elapsed, many people are still unable to return to their homes or homeland. Some people may say nuclear power plants must be shut down immediately. Others say that nuclear is essential for industry. There are many arguments and disagreements. But what is common to all of you is that as soon as is possible. Renewables, that is energy, which is in harmony with the fauna and flora of this earth, is supplied reasonably, priced, and stably to all of you. And this is our common hope and prayer. Last July, the feed-in tariff system started in our country. And now, many new companies, many municipalities, young people, and ordinary citizens in those communities are now engaging with renewables. This momentum, this energy is not a small one. And we must enlarge that. With technological innovation, this eagerness will make for a brighter future. But in Japan, many obstacles have been identified in the way of retail power deregulation, such as the unbundling of production and transmission. And there are many of the ancient regime who resist strongly the changes on these issues. If we look around the world, most countries have already unbundled. And customers are able to purchase clean energy as they wish. And those customers enjoy freedom of choice, freedom of electrical power, free to purchase from any electrical power company. I want to anchor at the earliest possible juncture such a system in Japan. This debate on the system is not in the domain of the private sector. I have to call upon the government, the bureaucrats, the academics, journalists, all of you to study what has gone on before around the world and realize that this is not impossible in our country. Rather, this is the road that Japan can and should take. In that sense, the opinions expressed by the experts who have gathered here today are invaluable for the good of Japan, the people everywhere. For mankind, I hope that you will debate heatedly for the full day. I really look forward to your advice. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the persons in the world who have been an early pioneer in visions about an economically competitive, sustainable energy system is Amory Lovins. Not only has he been a visionary, he has also managed to implement his ideas with great economic success, making him extremely attractive as a consultant and not only as a speaker. And we are extremely happy to have the opportunity to hear from your visions here in Japan today. Thank you for giving us your time. Amory Lovins, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Thomas, for the honor of sharing with you the findings of an ambitious synthesis of American energy solutions that I think may help in Japan. At Rocky Mountain Institute, 60 colleagues and I performed a rigorous study during 1.5 years with much help from industry. And my dear friend and colleague Santa-san translated it into Japanese, so it's available here from Diamond for half a year now. But you may wonder how these American analyses are relevant to Japan. Well, both of our countries have become dramatically more energy efficient, and Japan's efficiency gains led the world in the 1970s, but then fell behind. Last year, an independent comparison ranked Japan #1 among 11 industrial nations in industrial energy efficiency, but #10 in industrial cogeneration, #10 in commercial building efficiency, #8 in truck efficiency, and tied with the United States for next to last in car efficiency. So given these big Kaizen opportunities, let me summarize some American findings that I think are broadly applicable to Japan. And let me start with a big question. Can we imagine fuel without fear? Can we even reinvent fire? What is going on here? Sorry. Because, I don't know what is happening here. I'm seeing different slides that are on the screen. It's not advancing on the screen, which I've never seen happen before. There we go. It's as if a different computer were connected. But this one is. Okay. Well, in ancient times, fire made us human, and then fossil fuels made us modern. But now we need a new fire that makes us safe, secure, healthy, and durable. So our work, Reinventing Fire, explores how to triple the efficiency of using energy and get it 3/4 from renewable sources. And we found that this would cost the United States $5 trillion less in net present value than business as usual, assuming that carbon prices are zero and all externalities are worth zero. And yet this cheaper energy system could support a 158% bigger US economy, all without oil or coal or nuclear energy, and with 82 to 86% lower carbon emissions. This would need no new inventions and no new national taxes, mandates, subsidies, or laws going around the gridlock Congress, which is even worse than the gridlock Diet. Let me say that again. I'm going to tell you how the United States can get completely off oil and coal and nuclear energy, $5 trillion cheaper, with no act of Congress led by business for profit. And the needed policy changes need not wait for national consensus. They can be set administratively or at a prefectural level. And this energy solution could use our most effective institutions to go around our least effective institutions. This approach also bridges ideological disputes, because whether you care most about profits and jobs and competitive advantage, or about national security, or about environmental stewardship, climate, public health, reinventing fire makes sense and makes money. And this needs two big shifts in oil and electricity. Let me start with oil, half of which goes to automobiles. 2/3 of the energy used to move a car is caused by its weight, and each unit of energy saved at the wheels by reducing weight saves 7 units of fuel at the tank. And yet, for the past quarter century, epidemic obesity has made our 2-ton steel cars gain weight twice as fast as we have. But today, ultra-light and ultra-strong materials like carbon fiber composites can make dramatic weight savings snowball and can make autos simpler and cheaper to build. Lighter and more slippery autos need less force to move them, so their engine gets smaller. And then we can afford to electrify them because the costly batteries or fuel cells get 2 or 3 times smaller, lighter, and cheaper. Therefore, the total price of the car falls to about today's level, and the driving cost per kilometer is much lower. And these innovations can transform automakers from wringing tiny savings out of essentially Victorian steel stamping and engine technologies to the steeply falling costs of 3 linked innovations in ultralight materials, their manufacturing processes to make structures, and electric propulsion. The sales can grow and prices drop even faster with a temporary fee-bate, that is, rebates for efficient new autos paid for by fees on inefficient ones. In its first 2 years, the biggest of 5 European fee-bate programs tripled the speed of improving automotive efficiency. And last month, Singapore adopted Asia's first fee-bate program. Fee-bates could be national or prefectural. The resulting shift to electric autos will be as game-changing as shifting from small refinements in typewriters to the dramatic Moore's law-driven gains in computers. Of course, computers and electronics are now our biggest industry, while typewriter makers have vanished. So vehicle fitness opens a breakthrough automotive competitive strategy that de-risks the business, doubles the oil savings in 40 years, and makes affordable the electrification that can save the rest of the oil. Japan or America could lead this next automotive revolution. The barriers are more cultural than technical or economic. But the current leader is Germany. This year, Volkswagen starts to produce this 98 kilometer per liter carbon fiber plug-in hybrid. And this year, BMW starts the mid-volume production of this carbon fiber electric car. They confirmed that the carbon fiber is paid for by needing fewer batteries. And they said, we do not intend to be a typewriter maker. Audi just showed a more than 110 kilometer per liter carbon fiber plug-in hybrid concept sport utility vehicle. Now, 7 years ago, an even faster and cheaper American manufacturing technology made in 1 minute this carbon fiber carbon cap, which you can tell from the sound is extremely stiff and strong, tougher than titanium. Such manufacturing techniques can scale to automotive speed and cost with aerospace performance. They save 4/5 of the capital needed for automaking. They save lives because these materials can absorb 6 to 12 times the crash energy per kilogram of steel. And they would save oil just in US automaking equivalent to finding 1.5 Saudi Arabias or half an OPEC. And that saved oil costs just $18 a barrel. That pays for the electrification. The ultralighting is approximately free. It's paid for by simpler manufacturing and a smaller propulsion system. And the saved oil is domestic, carbon-free, and inexhaustible. 5 years ago, Toyota showed this carbon fiber plug-in hybrid concept car. It has the interior space of a Prius, but with half its fuel use and 1/3 its weight. If it were an ordinary hybrid like today's standard Prius, it would weigh 400 kilograms. Toyota does not do such projects just for amusement, so Volkswagen and BMW will soon gain worthy competitors, and not only in Japan. So to get mobility without oil, we can first get efficient and then switch fuels. And those 50 to 100 kilometer per liter equivalent autos can use any mixture of hydrogen, electricity, and advanced biofuels. The trucks and airplanes, also at triple efficiency, could burn the advanced biofuels or hydrogen. The trucks could even use natural gas, but no vehicles will need oil. and any biofuels that the United States might need, just this small amount, could be made 2/3 from waste without using any cropland and without harming soil or climate. Our team speeds these oil savings by institutional acupuncture. Where the business logic is congested and not flowing properly, we stick little needles in selected points to get this chi flowing with partners like Ford and Walmart and the Pentagon. And this long transition is already well underway. In fact, even 4 years ago, mainstream analysts were starting to see peak oil not in supply but in demand. And Deutsche Bank even forecast that world oil use could peak around 2016. So oil, in short, is becoming uncompetitive even at low prices before it becomes unavailable even at high prices. But electrified autos need not add new burdens to the electricity system. Rather, when electric autos intelligently exchange electricity and information through smart buildings with smart grids, they're adding to the grid flexibility and storage that help the grid to integrate varying solar and wind power. So electrified autos make the auto and electricity problems easier to solve together than separately, and they converge the oil story with our second big story, saving electricity and then making it differently. And those twin revolutions in electricity are bringing more numerous, diverse, and profound disruptions than to any other sector, because we have 21st century technology and speed colliding head-on with 20th and 19th century institutions, rules, and cultures. Now, changing how we make electricity gets easier if we need less of it. Today, most of the electricity used in both our countries is wasted, and efficiency techniques keep improving faster than we install them. So the unbought reserve of efficiency keeps getting bigger and cheaper. But as buildings and industry start to get efficient faster than they grow, America's electricity use, rather than growing 1% a year, could decrease 1% a year despite new use by electric cars. And in fact, it seems we're already on this trajectory. Over the next 40 years, US buildings, which use 3/4 of the electricity, can triple or quadruple their energy productivity, saving $1.4 trillion net present value with a 33% internal rate of return. The savings are worth 4 times their cost. And industry can also accelerate, doubling its energy productivity with a 21% internal rate of return. We would only need to ramp up national average efficiency adoption over the next 20 years to the levels that some states have already achieved. A disruptive innovation we call integrative design can do even better, because it often makes very big energy savings cost less than small or no savings, turning diminishing returns into expanding returns. That's how the retrofit I co-led at the Empire State Building 3 years ago is saving 2/5 of its energy. We first remanufactured the 6,500 windows in an on-site temporary window factory into super windows that insulate 4 times better and let light through but block heat. That plus better lights and office equipment cut the maximum cooling load by 1/3. And then renovating smaller chillers rather than adding bigger chillers saved $17 million of capital cost, helping pay for the other improvements and reducing the payback time to just 3 years. The same payback offered by a major energy service company that used disintegrated design, so their savings were only 1/6 as big because they optimized components. We optimized the whole building together. Retrofitting the head office of the semiconductor company Rome, Kyoto Ikini, achieved even bigger and cheaper retrofit savings, 44% saving with a 2-year payback without even using super windows. And some recent US retrofits of big buildings are saving as much as 70%, making some old buildings better than new. My own house at 2,200 meters elevation in the Rocky Mountains, where temperatures used to dip as low as minus 44 Celsius, helped to inspire more than 30,000 European passive buildings that, like ours, need no heating, yet have roughly normal construction cost, and they need not look like this to work like this. But if we come inside this atrium, whose glass insulates like 14 sheets of glass, 1 year ago in February, it looked like this in the middle of my house. You can see 2 of the 5 banana crops that were then ripening with no heating system. In 1984, this house saved 99% of its space and water heating energy, 90% of its electricity, half the water, all with a 10-month payback. Today's technologies are better, so we've just retrofitted them. And this design approach works in any climate, including eliminating air conditioning up to 46 Celsius with lower construction cost and better comfort, or in Bangkok, saving 90% of normal air conditioning energy with normal construction cost and better comfort. And the key is integrative design that gives many benefits from each expenditure. So this white arch has 12 benefits, but only 1 cost. In buildings and industry, pumps, the biggest use of motors, move liquids through pipes, but a typical industrial pumping loop in a Shanghai factory was redesigned to use at least 86% less pumping energy, not by getting better pumps or motors, but just by replacing long, thin, crooked pipes with fat, short, straight pipes. So this is not new technology, it's rearranging our metal furniture as designers. And of course, each unit of friction saved in the pipe makes the pumps and motors smaller, and the total capital cost goes down. And in fact, it saves 10 units of fuel and emissions at the power plant. Our team has lately found such snowballing energy savings in redesigning over $30 billion worth of diverse industrial facilities, similar to many in Japan. Typically, our retrofit designs save about 30 to 60% of the energy with a few years payback, and our new facility designs save around 40 to 90+% with generally lower capital cost. Now, needing electricity less would ease and speed the shift to new sources, chiefly renewables, where China, of course, is driving the plummeting cost, shown here on a logarithmic scale, and the exploding demand. You can see that photovoltaic module costs have already dropped off the bottom of this logarithmic chart. Wind farm costs are also coming down, and both are marketplace winners. The unsubsidized market prices in the United States last year were about 4 or 5 yen per kilowatt hour for onshore wind power, and 10 yen for photovoltaics. Solar systems installed in Germany, however, averaged only half the US cost because Germany has scaled its installations to 8 gigawatts per year. So in each of the past 2 years, Germany installed more photovoltaics in 1 month than the United States or Japan added all year. Today, in about 20 of the United States, private installers will put these solar modules on your roof, beat your utility bill, and need no down payment. Such unregulated products could ultimately add up to a virtual utility that could bypass the electric company, just as wireless telephones bypass the wireline phone company, the monopoly. And that gives electricity executives bad dreams and venture capitalists sweet dreams. Or incumbent electricity providers could turn this insurgency into a major business opportunity. Now, in each of the past 5 years, half of the world's new generating capacity has come from renewables, and now a fifth of all electricity is renewable. These are the annual net additions of wind and photovoltaics. And as electricity production has become a scalable manufactured product with a single factory producing 2.5 gigawatts per year of photovoltaics, such manufacturing worldwide rose from a capacity to make 59 gigawatts a year to, at the end of last year, about 80, 3/4 of that in China. In 2011 alone, so giving a cross-section, a snapshot for this year, these modern renewables invested their trillionth dollar since 2004. They got $250 billion of global private investment. They added 84 gigawatts, and they reached 1.5 times the global capacity of nuclear power, whose annual net additions were below zero even before Fukushima Daiichi, because there's no business case. So the orders for nuclear and coal plants continue to fade away. And coal has already lost 1/3 of its US market share in just 6 years. Now, some say that we need giant coal and nuclear plants to keep the lights on because they are supposedly 24/7. But actually, we can construct what you might call virtual baseload. Consider the isolated Texas grid, which in a summer week in 2050 might have such a load shape or less and less peaky with efficiency. Let's run it on 100% renewable electricity. The first 86% wind and photovoltaics, the other 14% dispatchable renewables, geothermal, small hydro, solar thermal electric, municipal waste combustion, biogas combustion. But then we have at sometimes too much electricity, at other times not enough. So when we have a surplus, let's put it into two kinds of distributed storage: ice storage, air conditioning, and smart charging of electric autos. Then recover that energy when we need it and fill in the last bits with unobtrusively flexible demand. So now demand is reliably met every hour of the year with no bulk storage of electricity, and only 5% of the annual renewable output is left over. Some utilities already do this sort of choreography. For German states in 2010 were 43 to 52% wind-powered, Portugal 45% renewable, Denmark 36%. Germany, the middle of last year, was 1/4 renewable electricity, over half at times last spring, and such experience permits a clear vision of 100% renewable electricity for the whole European Union over decades. Now, Japan has twice the high-quality renewable energy density of the United States, 3 times that of Europe, 9 times that of Germany, and yet the renewable share of Japanese electricity is 9 times less than in Germany. Why? Simply because Japan is the only major industrial country that lets utilities block their competitors and refuse to buy renewable power. An independent system operator, fair grid access, and transparent pricing are vitally needed, now perhaps delayed, but without them, competition cannot rapidly drive renewable prices down and deployment up, as in Europe. Japan added 3 gigawatts of photovoltaics last year. That's good, but remember that the previous year, Italy, that paragon of organization, added 7 gigawatts of photovoltaics. The Japan Wind Power Association forecasts having the same share of electricity in 2050 that Spain had in 2010. Japan did not create the world's 3rd biggest economy by being so unambitious. Another important dimension of the transition is from centralized to distributed, and this permits a way to reorganize the grid into netted islandable microgrids to make major failures impossible at essentially no extra cost, as Denmark is doing, and this would add great security in Japan. So when we add this up and think of what a Japanese version of this would look like, led by business, enabled and sped by smart policies in mindful markets, we see that the energy future is not fate but choice, and the choice is very flexible. In 1975, US government and industry said the energy used to make $1 of GDP could never go down. I wrote an article saying it could go down by several-fold. This was very controversial. Here's what happened so far. It's gone down by half. And with today's better opportunities, we now see another tripling of efficiency available at even lower cost, a third the cost we used to foresee. 3/4 of Japanese people agreed we need such a leapfrog, a yaku. And we know that Japanese frogs jump far. Which country, when it makes up its mind to do something new, can do it faster than anyone? Japan. You need only allow energy markets to work so your people's diligence and your industry skills can flourish. Let efficiency and renewables compete fully with nuclear and fossil fuels. Reward utilities for cutting customers' bills, not for selling more energy. Bust barriers, embrace innovation. Let all ways to save or produce energy compete fairly, regardless of their type, technology, size, location, or ownership. Such choices could boost Japan's prosperity and competitiveness and influence and security. Japan could lead the world in reinventing fire. It just needs your choice to switch from energy dug from below to energy flowing from above. And this new fire is very different. It's not scarce but bountiful, not local but everywhere, not transient but permanent, not costly but free. And except for the transitional tail of natural gas and a little biofuel grown in ways that sustain and endure, this new fire is flameless. And efficiently used, it could do our work without working our undoing. Each of you owns a piece of that prize. Atarishi Hirosozo details how each of you can capture it. So I hope your work will be a great success to make the world richer, fairer, cooler, and safer by together reinventing fire. And together we can make Japan the leader the world is waiting for. Thank you for your good work and your kind attention.
Thank you very much. We're now going to have a brief photo session, so you please stay, Amory, and all other speakers, all who are supposed to speak during the day, please enter the stage and we will have the opportunity to take photographs. I'd also like to comment Amory's presentation by saying that with my limited intellectual capacity, I realized I heard a lot. I did not manage to understand all the details, but luckily, this will be available on Ustream, so you can listen to the lecture once more and hopefully grasp more of what was actually conveyed in this very dense lecture. Thank you very much, Amory.
We would
like to ask media representatives to gather in the center aisle. We would like media representatives to gather in the center aisle, please.
Increased efficiency is profitable if you are knowledgeable enough to see the opportunities we just learned. Renewable energy has become a low-cost alternative where the best countries in the world outperform by a factor of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 the less experienced renewable energy countries. Japan has the challenges to catch up with the best, and the Japanese administration has a significant opportunity to create a situation of improved efficiency and competitiveness for Japan. One of the people involved, Ichiro Takahara, is here to address us and tell what is going on. Takahara-san, the floor is yours.
I have just been introduced. I am the Director General of the Agency for Natural Resources and Energy at the Ministry of Economics, Trade and Industry. My name is Ichiro Takahara. I'd first of all like to thank all of the organizers for allowing me this wonderful opportunity to speak before you today. Unfortunately, I must immediately dash off after this speech to speak in front of the Diet. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to give a very, very shortened version of my presentation. But I wanted to be able to give you this opportunity to understand what exactly we are trying to achieve at present. It's going to be a very, very short speech, perhaps, but I hope you will understand what we are attempting to do. This shows you the status of renewable energy in Japan at present. In 2011, we saw that about 10% was of our energy produced in Japan was from renewable energy sources. However, as you can see, most of that was from hydro energy. But as a result of our adopting the feed-in tariff system and implementing it as of July of 2012, we have seen some expansion of renewable energy sources. To be more specific, we have seen that by the end of 2012, 1,440 megawatts of new renewable power plants began operations. However, again, as you may be aware, most of this is due to photovoltaics. We have installed them on roofs of buildings, etc., and this is very much leading the renewable sector. Therefore, in regard to wind power production, this is also a very, very great topic of interest for us. First of all, speaking about offshore wind, after all, we are surrounded by a great deal of water as we are an island nation. We believe that offshore wind will have great potential for providing energy for Japan in the future. But we are at present in the experimental or demonstration stage. As you can see, we have several places off the coast of an area called Choshi, also in the southern part of Japan in Kitakyushu. Also, there are 3 places, including off the coast of another place called Goto. Also, we have 3 nearshore wind projects that are already in operations, and we are going to expand these projects after fiscal year 2015. At the same time, we believe that reinforcing the infrastructure, the grid system, is going to be very, very instrumental in encouraging the promotion of wind power in Japan. There are areas up in the northern part of Japan, in the Hokkaido main island, northernmost island, and also the northeastern part of the main island, Tohoku, which have very good wind power potential. But because these are sparsely populated areas, there are not many grand grid transmission lines. Therefore, this is something that we need to improve, and we're asking the government for a larger budget to build these transmission lines infrastructure. And in regard to bringing in a great deal of intermittent wind and solar projects in the Hokkaido area, there are some problems that we must deal with, such as are listed here: the voltage fluctuation problem, the difficulty in maintaining proper frequencies, and what to do about surplus energy. So we believe, however, that we can definitely deal with these issues by providing backup power sources, such as gas combined cycle and pumped hydro storage, also putting in gas energy storage facilities at substations. In regard to the energy policy of the nation, after the Fukushima nuclear power plant accident or after the Tohoku Great earthquake, we have seen many difficulties that have arisen. But as a result, we have identified key challenges that we must pursue. And some of the topics that are before us is, first of all, to expand a wider area operation. Of course, there are going to be many more debates in the future on the governmental level, at the Diet level, but I still think that including this wider area operation of the grid system, there are three major issues that we need to confront. The second one would be, of course, to completely liberalize the retail market and the power generation market, and also to increase the independence of the grid system. We want to work very hard to achieve all of these three goals. We believe that these are indispensable to encouraging the promotion of renewable energy sources. We do need very much your we do need your support to achieve this. And I would like to talk more about this, but the Diet has instructed me to come at once. So I must therefore apologize for my early exit. But I would like to wish you every success in this very valuable and significant symposium you're having today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I do believe that the excuse of going to the Diet is a respectable task to leave this conference. Final speaker in this session is Harald Neitzel from the German Ministry of Environment and Nuclear Safety, a ministry that has significant influence on the dramatic, successful development of renewable energy in Germany. We will learn how the Germans, in a few years, spending a significant amount of money initially, have now reached a stage where renewable electricity may contribute more to the German electricity supply than nuclear power, where the reduction of nuclear power has been successfully not only compensated by increased use of renewables, the successful development of renewables have been larger than the decrease in nuclear, also making it possible to substitute some of the expensive fossil fuels. Welcome, Harald, to the stage, and thank you, Germany, for the pioneering work you have done, contributing to lower cost of renewables that now Japan and others can benefit from. The floor is yours. Thanks all the speakers of this session. After the initial encouragement and support from Masayoshi Son, we heard Amory Lovins present the significant opportunities to reduce cost and increase competitiveness by intelligent energy efficiency thinking when retrofitting old installations and when building new industries as well as houses. With high energy efficiency, the opportunities of utilizing renewable energy is also increased. You don't need to build as much energy supply if you have managed energy use in a clever way. We learned how even in a large part of the US as Texas, we could manage with sustainable energy supply or electricity supply with efficiency and with clever dispatch of the different renewable energy sources with very little conventional energy storage. Electric vehicles and stored cooling would be sufficient to make the system work. It was also mentioned the interaction between modern technologies and old-fashioned institutions and regulations. And this is a key issue in making renewable energy efficiently introduced in Japan. Germany has done a heroic effort in developing renewable energy technologies, and we saw that the surcharge, the extra money paid by the German consumers, have largely gone into supporting the industrialization of solar PV industries throughout the world. But now prices have fallen so that the extra cost of adding another 20 gigawatt of solar in Germany is expected to be rather low. But note, Germany is doing much better in keeping costs low for new solar installations than the United States or than Japan. They have learned, they have adapted their institutions, regulations and rules so that the cost of solar is very low. And we see in different areas that the cost of renewables are much higher in Japan than in the best performing countries of the world. And after a 10-minute break, we will return to the Japanese context and hear about renewable energy development here, with the intention of identifying homemade costs in Japan so that they can be removed and the Japanese industry and the Japanese people enjoying renewable energy at low cost. So thank you very much for the contributions to this first session. We have a 10-minute break before the next session on renewable energy in Japan. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。以上をもちまして
Thank you very much. So with that, this is the end of the greetings and keynotes. We will take a 10-minute break. Please do take your valuables with you if you leave your seat. We will start at 10:50 for session number 1.